All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Live Wire. I am your host, Jared Moore, and on tonight's program, we're going to have Mashell Sourjohn. She is the Senior Associate State Director of Community Outreach at AARP in Oklahoma, and we're going to be talking about a program they have called the Native American Elder Honors Program. And so to start off with, Ms. Sourjohn, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you and the whole team there at Mvskoke Media.
Awesome. So I guess to start off with is, what is the Native American Elders Honor Program?
So the AARP Oklahoma Native American Elder Honors is a program we started, this will be our 16th annual year to host it, where we honor and celebrate up to 50 Native American elders from all of our Oklahoma 39 tribal nations for their contributions and the impact that they've made to our country, our state, communities, and Indian country throughout our nation. And so nominations are currently open. And to date, we have honored over 700 Native American elders from the state of Oklahoma, which is incredible.
Awesome. That's amazing. And for you guys watching the program, don't forget, if you have a question, you can pop it into the chat. Also, there is a link to the page, the AARP page about this program. And also on that page is a link if you want to submit your elder for the contest. So let's talk about the requirements for someone to submit their elder. Is this something where the elder can submit themselves, or do they need somebody else to do it? Do they need to be a member of specific tribes? What are the prerequisites?
Yeah, so anyone can nominate. We do, of course, send out the nominations out first to our tribal leaders, our Title VI directors, and of course our tribal media. But anyone can nominate anyone as long as the nominee, they must be an enrolled member of one of our Oklahoma 39 tribal nations. They must be age 50 plus. Nominees are selected on the demonstration of their leadership and the impact that they make on their community, tribal nation, or country. And they don't have to be an AARP member to be nominated, or you don't have to be an AARP member to nominate. We just ask that all applications are provided online and through that website that you shared. Thank you so much for doing that. And then also all applications must be completed.
Okay. And I should mention to you guys out there in the audience, if you are subscribed to our newspaper, in the January 15th edition, there's an article about Miss Virginia Thomas. You might know her, and she was the winner for last year's award, along with some other Mvskoke Creek citizens. Isn't that right?
Yeah, Virginia Thomas. Oh my goodness, she's incredible. She's really devoted her whole life's work to her community and tribal nation, where she has served as the chair for the Okmulgee Indian community. She's been an educator for over 50 years and a founding member of the National Johnson O'Malley Association, and which she served as a president for that organization for over 16 years. And she does a lot of also cultural preservation and language. She helped establish the Mvskoke Nation language program. So just an incredible individual. And those are definitely who we're looking for is people that make a deep impact. And of course, at AARP, our founder was an educator, Dr. Ethel Percy Andrus, and that's how we got our start. So we do love our educators, and Virginia Thomas is an amazing one.
Absolutely. And there were two other Mvskoke citizens too that won as well too. Do you want to name drop those guys?
Yeah, we had Reverend Eddie Lindsay. He served in the Navy and also serves as a pastor in the Oklahoma City Indian Community Church. And then we also had Sharon Fife Mouse. In 1976, she co-founded the Fife Collection. Of course, now we're seeing this great uprising of contemporary fashion houses with Native design. Well, she started one in 1976,
Yes.
and she holds a bachelor's degree in English, and she's taught English composition at OSU for 25 years before she retired. So
Awesome.
again, some wonderful educators out there and people
Absolutely.
deeply committed to our culture and preservation and just incredible people.
So, for an elder that wins this award, what can they expect? What does it consist of? Are they going to go to a big gala and get a big trophy? What happens?
Yeah, so each year we host an event. For the past couple of years, we've been able to host it at the First Americans Museum in Oklahoma City. In previous years, it was a dinner, and we used to host it at the Western Heritage Museum,
Mm-hmm.
where we had almost 900 attendees there. And then, of course, the First Americans Museum opened up, and that's really where we needed to be. A museum that's dedicated to featuring and spotlighting the culture and the history of our 39 tribal nations here in the state of Oklahoma. And
Absolutely.
so we've moved it there, and we moved it to a luncheon, and which has been a lot easier on some of our elders that are driving, for quite some time to get there. And then we, of course, that was used to be a late night for them. But
Mm-hmm.
we have a wonderful luncheon for them. Honorees receive an AARP medallion. And then, of course, we do list everyone in a program that we do have listed on the website that you mentioned. We have
Mm-hmm.
all of our previous honorees and programs listed on aarp.org/OK Native American Elder Honors. It's just a full day of spotlighting these everyday heroes and people that are making positive change in our communities.
Absolutely. And it's good to see that AARP is doing that for natives because that's something that culturally we try to do. Even at the Mvskoke Creek Nation, we have our Living Legends program, and it's good to see other organizations also recognizing those things. What other programs does AARP Oklahoma have for Native Americans that they could maybe tap into?
Wow, we have so much. I don't know if you got a chance, really would love to invite you to come join us for our Native American Elder Honors. This next year it will be November 6th at the First Americans Museum. But
Okay.
on our tables, these are all of our Native American programs that we have here in Oklahoma
Wow.
and across the nation that specifically focus on Indian country. And so one of the things that we do here at AARP is, of course, you hear a lot of frauds and scams
Mm-hmm.
impacting, our citizens, not just the 50 plus population, but all citizens. And so we know at AARP, if you can spot a scam, you can stop a scam. So we really want to educate people on what those local scams are, or what those scams are, and if they have been a victim of a scam, what they can do to be able to get back on their feet.
Yeah.
And then last year, we at AARP nationally, we did a qualitative study as the fraud experience in Indigenous communities. So we
Mm-hmm.
wanted to see what type of frauds and scams were happening out in the community. And we saw in our communities pretty much what we're seeing nationwide, with the exception, particularly in Indian country, we saw fake regalia sales,
Mm.
or we also unfortunately saw a lot of reported job opportunities that might have turned into some type of human trafficking. But again, we wanted to use this study to really figure out, how we can address fraud in the community. And, it really helped us as an organization as well, because we weren't just interviewing 50 plus population, it was 18 and older. And
Mm.
what we found is, some of our younger generation who are very tech savvy are often the ones that our elders are going to get the education. So
Right.
it's a great opportunity for us to really educate everybody and provide them with the resources that they need.
Awesome.
Yeah, we do a lot of livable communities work out in AARP. And in fact, here recently, we just launched our AARP livable community grants, where we provide grants to communities. Several of our tribal nations in the state of Oklahoma have received these grants, including the Okmulgee Indian Community Center.
Oh, wow.
you received a grant from us last year. The Kickapoo Nation, we provided a $50,000 grant to address transportation. And the past Delaware Nation, they received a community grant to do a multi-generational community garden where all abilities and all ages could come and participate in this community garden. And then that food was provided to their elders program during the summer months, so which is really cool. But we have several grant opportunities that are available, and then also with some of those grants, such as we have some for doing walk audits in your community, bikeability audits. And then also there's a new one, which I'm super excited about because we do a lot of education on home fit. So how you can modify your home so you can live in it as long as possible. And those grants come along with some assistance from our national partners who are issue experts in that to kind of help also coach them along to make sure that, what they're doing in the community is successful and they feel supported.
Wow, that's awesome. Are all these grants and these various programs accessible through your website? Is that how somebody would go to get the materials to apply?
Yeah, so that particular one, you can go to aarp.org community challenge and you can get information on that. Or you can always go to aarp.org/OK and we list all these information on there for people to access it always. And then, of course, anybody can call me at any time at 405-757-8600. Always happy to answer questions and be available.
Wow, that's great. Well, it sounds like you guys have a wealth of things that maybe are little known, grants and things that natives could take advantage of, native communities could take advantage of. I encourage you guys to go to the link in the description of the video, apply, pick your elder that's your favorite, put an application in for them and see if they win. And then while you're there, take a look at the grants and things that you could apply for. Ms. Sourjohn, is there anything about the Native American Elders Honors Program that you think is important to mention that we haven't mentioned yet?
Yeah, I mean, every year, I get the honor of working with all of our nominees, and then all the way up to, it's a year-round labor of love, and it's amazing hearing all of these stories. And I invite everybody to go to the website I mentioned earlier. You can look at all of our programs throughout the years, and you will be inspired. Every year I always hear these stories and read these stories, and I think, wow, I need to up my game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in fact, last year we had a two-time football champion, and he was sitting there and he said, man, I'm just sitting here thinking, what am I doing here listening to all these incredible stories. We've had Cynthia Yerby, who's a citizen of Seminole Nation, who's been a 10-time world arm wrestling champion.
Wow.
And 11-time USA national arm wrestling champion. But she's also an incredibly dedicated to cultural preservation and giving back to her community. And in fact, you can also see her as an actress on Reservation Dogs as well.
Oh, great.
Yeah, some really cool stuff there. We've honored Joy Harjo, Sepulpa, of course, our renowned performer, writer, and poet laureate of the United States. And, I think one of our very first honorees, we honor a lot of veterans, dedicated their life to our nation. And we had one of our very first honorees who was a citizen of Mvskoke Nation who served in World War II and actually was had to walk the Bataan Death March. So
Philip Kuhn.
Yes. So just some amazing, inspiring stories, and so we encourage everyone to, take time to nominate someone to be spotlighted, and it's a true honor for us at AARP to be able to do this, and we look forward to it every year.
Well, personally, I want to thank you guys for doing it too, because that's one of I will concur with you about the great stories and the great lives that our elders have led. Amazing things that you wouldn't you go above and beyond what you would think they could accomplish. And because long ago, when we used to do a television program, we would go out and interview so many citizens, and that was the thing that was so interesting about it all the time, was every citizen has these great life stories and things that they did that it was always an interesting conversation that you could have with them. So I appreciate that you guys are out there doing that and honoring those elders. I don't see any questions popping up in the chat. We're about at 15 minutes. So if you guys have any questions, you better hurry up and get them in there, because I think we're getting close to the end of the program. For the AARP, the selection process, how are these elders selected? Is it a committee that does it, or is there some criteria for that? Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we do. So our AARP staff and volunteers, we have a committee that reviews the applications and then makes the selection. And again, those nominees, they must be an enrolled member of one of our Oklahoma 39 tribal nations, and they must be living as well. I didn't mention that earlier, but they must be living, and then also all applications do have to be complete. I don't need a photograph, but just the information that's on the applications, we do have to have complete information.
All right. And if someone is selected, when are they notified? If somebody applies with their elder right now, when would they expect to see a notification that they had won?
Yeah, so those applications, they close on March 31st, and then we generally notify them by the end of June,
Okay.
at the latest at August, but we want to give people plenty enough time to be able to make arrangements, and then also notify some of their family and friends as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for being on the program tonight. I didn't see any questions from you guys in the audience, so go check this program out and check out AARP, because they have a lot of Native American grants and community grants and things that you guys could apply for if you're interested. And we are going to have another live wire next week on Tuesday the 6th, again at 6 p.m. We're going to have Mr. Chris McCabe from the Riverview Neighborhood Association, and you guys may remember him from previous program where we were talking about the refurbishment of the Council Oak Park in downtown Tulsa. He's got some updates that they have gotten some money together, and some lights and things are going to be replaced. So if you have any questions about that project, or you want to get in contact with Mr. McCabe, be sure you tune in there for that program and ask your questions. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap us up. We're a little bit early, but thanks again, Ms. Sourjohn, and thanks to you guys for tuning in. And we will see you next week. Mado, Hadom, Chihichath, Lees.